Best Brains. Here it is. It's on Golden Triangle Drive. I'm sure the Great Pyramid will be opening just in time for us to get there. Very suspicious about an address on Golden Triangle Drive. I just want to know who's responsible. Yes, this is an excellent program. If you just knew what city you were in, you'd be able to get there. This Brains, the best part of it is gone. All right, yeah. Not in there either. Okay. Oh.
It's fall at the corner of time and space.
Okay, David Ossman. That's the way it goes.
Picking up the bat. Yeah. Sounds like golf.
Editing.
Yeah. So this is our editing suite where we do editing.
Yeah.
We're actually able to, we're very proud of that. Write the show here, shoot the show here, edit the show here. All in one place.
All in one place.
And obscure, too.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Well.
Big. We work with Conglomco Incorporated. Division of Huge Tech. You get those things.
Yeah.
You get those things. But we're pretty proud of it. Just a few of our props.
Nice.
Made this chainsaw. He had a crow cutting through the hull of the ship with a chainsaw trying to tunnel his way out back to Earth.
Oh, as a matter of fact.
It is a movie prop, so.
Mothra, a friend of mine just did a musical off-Broadway in Seattle.
Oh, that's good.
It's a fringe drama film.
Musical version of Mothra.
Well, it turned out we didn't know what it was going to be, and it's called Mothra the Musical, and it's this very funny show about moths. It's really a kind of a scientific show about the life cycle of moths with a rock band and all these funny songs. It's more or less suitable for children until they get the pheromones and all of that, and it's
all the chemical signals.
Yeah. But it was really funny, and this guy I've known since high school, now he's in his, I guess, late 20s, and so it was just like, we wouldn't miss it. Here's an extra 50 for you, pal.
We got, before he died, Frank Zappa contacted us and sent us a screenplay that he thought maybe we'd be able to produce for him. It's just, we were shooting at the time, it didn't work, but the screenplay was wonderful. It was the story of a giant alien spider who lives on the moon. Like from Queen of Outer Space and A World Without End and a couple of those other battle movies where they had the big stupid stuffed spider with the Amazon women on the moon. But it was told from the point of view of the spider. And it was just beautiful. And it was a musical. And his idea was to give it that unique look, was to record the entire soundtrack first, dialogue, sound effects, music, and all, and then lip sync the entire film.
That's the way we did everything.
I saw Everything You Know Is Wrong was done that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it was great.
We have a couple of our new characters. This is an alien we call Observer. He was one of three. They were all named Observers, so it did get rather confusing. They're sufficiently advanced beyond our time that they can they can live without their brains. They're really advanced, but of course, they still need their bodies so that they can move their brains around. One of the characters in the ship alludes that it might be simpler if they actually carry the brains in their heads, and they poo-poo that because they're sufficiently advanced to poo-poo that.
Looks like the jello is melting.
It's all handmade, and we all do about 2 or 3 jobs. So I'm a writer and associate producer of the show, and run Tom Servo, that little guy right there. Now this painting is left over since Tom did an art installation. He was given a grant by Crow to do some artwork. So this is Tom's vision of his friend Crow. There's a few more of those as we go along.
You see Star Wars, you think, how many, high-powered effects are there in there? About 4 minutes.
Of course, yes. And hungry hippos, they've always been represented in our. I'm sure there's something. It's still a toy down here.
Well, this, and of course, the Star Wars this was exactly how Star Wars was made, because I was in Industrial Light and Magic when they were packing it up. I was a miniature construction artist. And it was all made up from pieces of other people's,
Kit bashing is
kit bashing.
Yeah.
kids, just kids.
And it's fun. And when we first put the set up, we simply went to the Salvation Army and the St. Vincent de Paul and all these local places that had the islands of misfit toys around the neighborhood. And just laid them all out on the floor and started gluing them up on the set.
Industrial Light and NASA are both bringing themselves and heaps of gadgets to Anytime.
Oh, really?
Yes. So there'll be an entire room that NASA is putting on, including a live ISDN hookup to whoever's in space or in Houston at the moment.
One of the ideas we had was to be able to have Mike, the human person, climb down through there and then cut to a redressed version of the set as a galley or as a bridge, as an observation deck. We may eventually do that, but
Jeffries too.
right. And that one guy from the Star Trek series, like Michael Kuda, managed to get little icons of our show on some of the control panels.
Yeah.
We went and saw the Deep Space Nine set, I think it was, and there's a control panel and it lights up Jeff and Tom Servo. We sit behind it.
Well, that's what you think of when
In the big white wall. Styrofoam technology. Buy this at your local hardware. But this is the spaceship where Cross Forrester drives around the universe. There are actually rocket nacelles that go on either side of this to hang on it. Little satellite dish, little scale miles. But we decided we needed a rather unconventional spaceship for it.
I like it, I like it.
Always charged by the end of this problem. This is one of the ways we can do what we do, is that we have this giant crossbow.
Oh, wow.
And we never throw away anything.
No, of course not.
No, it's really a lot of fun. And we've got, kind of had them all sorted out. We have all our costumes up here. We're actually going to make ourselves a costume room soon because we run out of room for costumes. But it goes on endlessly. And
I finally had that, between the 80s Firesign Theater and, and now I have a huge amount of costumes. And it's devastating.
oh yeah, it's hard.
I mean, I still, I've got like this much.
Yeah.
To have lost, where is this? Where is that?
Nanites are, of course, very tiny little machines, subcellular. So it's very simple. All they do is turn the heads. Made out of the VHS cassettes. Very nice. We wanted it to look somewhat like a computer chip, and they walk around on the circuit board and we shoot the whole thing with black light. And it looks, we were surprised at how good it was. Our staff is about 10 people total. We bring in a photographer. And that's it, the rest of what we do here. We have an editor for this. And all of the writers at various times have brought a cast. 3 of us, or 4 of us are full-time cast members. The usual ones are in the cast here and there. And we all play different games. So we'll see your face sometimes just 3 or 4 times in the same show. So. No repertory company.
No, your audiences never know, and if they do, they don't care.
They don't care.
They do not care that you are everybody. I learned that very early on. They don't
Sure.
care whether
I
you
think
did.
they prefer it, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Especially with a small company like yours, they always prefer it.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing that was magic for us on stage was that people would find out who did the voices
Right,
that
yeah.
they knew, and they were always wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know. I thought you did that game. Come on.
I always tried to guess because I thought I had your voice pegged from the person I was. But I never got to
Everybody learned everybody else's voice.
That's good.
Austin wasn't
That's
available,
good.
I'll just do Austin's voice. We were recording a couple of weeks ago we did 10 new spots that are going to be on syndicated radio on April Fool's Day, syndicated by a company called Radio Today in New York. Brand new writing, and all 4 of us were there in the studio producing, so it was like the first time that we had done new audio stuff since we did the Pizza Hut ads. I don't know whether you ever heard
Sure,
those.
yeah.
Those were running up here.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we didn't write those, of course, but we did produce them, which is why they sound real fast and they're not stop.
Yeah.
And these were the same things between about 38 seconds and a minute. Oh, that's sort of just whip on.
Cool.
And at one point, we're in the studio and Austin's kind of directing. Well, hey, you do this. And I was like, no. This is Rock. Rock's voice.
Ossman looks at me and says, I don't know why you ought to be doing this, but he's got the book. No argument there, you know. It's just somehow he had his, you know, as one of those really smooth television announcers. There's a little laugh in the voice. And I can imitate Phil doing it, but I can't really do it.
Yeah, sure. I understand. This is Pearl in our last show. Pearl got another job.
Oh,
He just had a little Bob, so.
oh, lovely.
Hey, that's my note job. Yeah, I might have a little too much thinking off, but I don't try to get a little more tax.
You're used to seeing this week.
There's
Pearl's job.
right.
There's the proboscis that we're all used to there. He's a far monkey. He's the most articulated of all. His eyes can move from like top. His arms, we can still control rather than his arms. So he's all down to the way he's spin around. His arms flat, how will swing around.
So you have, on the staff, there are people who just make the puppets?
We have two members of the art department who, you know, are constantly building and rebuilding our puppets. And as well as the puppeteers who should take a hand in working, building puppets. Yeah, customize your own puppet. Yeah. You can't, it's like driving somebody else's car or wearing somebody else's underwear.
Can you imagine Proctor seeing this?
Oh,
His mouth would fall open at
absolute
each other.
Proctor. Yeah. He's one of the junkiest guys. I mean, the first time I met him, he would stop the car. If there was stuff out on the curb, just stop, jump up out of the car. So with the Malmborg and Plano lighters, it was a whole box of lighters, and on them it said Malmborg.
Oh, that travel queen just going out on the highway.
Or whatever it was.
That was that came
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Okay.
And he just, oh, look at this. This is great. He's like, Phil, it's just a piece of junk. And he said, oh, no, look, it doesn't have an arm.
That's what makes it
Like,
beautiful.
Phil, what?
Another of the things we construct, somebody actually had to make a conch shell because we couldn't find a conch shell. So Patrick slugged together a conch shell. It's pretty
Boy,
cool.
man.
It doesn't.
That's pretty authentic, actually.
Yeah, this is,
never get it.
here's all the, right.
Gotta have the technology.
Well, I'll tell you, I need a garage just about this big.
Gotta have the technology. We have so many old film cases, number one, it's frightening. Many closer plates. Closer plates are really handy. Have a lot of use for closer plates. Yeah, well, a lot of these things are,
He's nice, he's very nice, though.
a lot of the stuff is from our movies. Kind of Tolkien-esque warrior who wore this thing one time. Lovely helmet, a giant scimitar in his hand. Just a beautiful thing. Various roasts. This is a roast fish. Pancakes, waffles, sort of thing. Did an entire show dedicated to waffles throughout the house. It's a lot of fun. Finding things is the hard part.
But that's so much fun, finding things.
It's
You
really
know,
like-
it's the eye, you know. I've kind of lost it because we haven't done, you know, we do anything we've done on stage is extremely simple.
Yeah.
And no props and no stuff. When we work in LA, well, everything is wrong.
Right. Oh, I love that.
Yes, because that is really junked up. Particularly the interior of the trailer.
Yes.
You know, that's one of my favorite things.
Oh,
that
sure.
long, boring pan
Yeah,
along
yeah.
all the walls, you know. All that shit. Most of it Proctor. And you're still going to the garage. You still got one of these, Phil?
It's perfect. So I saw,
Blister's beer.
Stuff
I saw the X-Files the other night, and they have this guy who's an alien abductee who lives in an Airstream trailer, and it's all jumped up. And the first thing I thought of was Happy Harry Doc. It's been done
It's
before.
been done before, guys.
This was our, we're tearing it down and putting it in another set. This was our H-World. Set was completely and that's the
Green came up.
Dr. Forrester.
Yep.
We even know the reference.
Actually played
Wonderful, obscure reference. Played by Gene Barry in the movie, and Dana Andrews in the Lux Radio Theater version.
Oh, wow. I'll introduce you to three of our writers. Mike, Paul, Bill. Ossman, Firesign Theater.
Oh, hi. Hi, you're Mike.
I'm Paul.
I'm Paul. You're Paul.
Yeah, right.
And you're Bob. No.
Mike.
Nice to meet you. Right. How are you? This is the pit here, right?
These are right at that.
A nice description.
Yeah.
Currently, we were.
These were very popular in the 60s, I think, right? Get together in your split level.
Exactly.
Lounge.
A rumpus rhythm, right?
Yes, for a little rump.
Currently, we're working on the film The Incredibly Strange Creatures Who Stop Living and Became Mixed Up Zombies.
Yeah, I remember that title.
Ray Dennis Steckler movie.
There's the zombie right there.
There he is, and he's about to kill. Being mixed up.
An ugly guy in a
And
black sweatshirt.
he's giving her a paper cut on the head. Turns around, wall. There's the paper cut. Turns around, and now goes after these thin gay Nazis. Again in the face.
Not in the face, not in the face.
Back into the curtains.
It may well be the spookiest film we've ever done.
Figure out a cut.
We like to cut the excessive,
Yeah, excessive violence out. Good, good.
Especially there's a few scenes where he's chasing down women, and it's just really creepy.
Just keep the women. Eliminate the
Right.
shadow of
Right.
the knife there. The kids will never.
Use the paint box.
Yeah, actually, you should move the shadow of the knife to some other place in the film where it's completely inappropriate.
Didn't introduce Crow yet, did you? Oh, Bill.
Did you meet
Hi,
Bill
Bill
David?
Corbett.
Pleasure to meet you. Nice to meet you.
The new voice of Crow.
Great. I was just saying that it's really wonderful to think that, that because television, as I say, is so stupid that you can actually be stupid and not be in Los Angeles. I mean, that's a real accomplishment. But I remember standing in the parking lot and having a car swing around with our agents or producers or some guys, with a corkscrew stuck out the window. Like this, still in motion. I thought, oh, no. This is how, we're not going to have a sensible conversation. And everybody's like this. It's really exciting. We really got to do this. It's really wonderful. Well, how are you going to feel in 20 minutes? You're getting excited again.
That's what we got to do the quick time before it wears off.
I think this is not where I want to be.
What's the scariest thing about Los Angeles in the 80s is Coke-fueled movie executives and SOBs.
Yeah.
Blasting around.
Very, very frightening. Very frightening. But this is laid back. This is laid back. Well, I live in Washington State, Whidbey Island. I'm a long way away from all of that. Very down home. So when I go to Los Angeles, I can always know that back home people are not like this. And there are a bunch of people who live on the island. There's a prop master that we know and a cinematographer.
Wow.
And a special effects person. We just met an editor.
Make your own studio.
So they're, well, I mean, they work there, they try to work 6 months a year, or whatever they can in LA, or wherever, because they're usually on location. Well, the cinematographer is always somewhere else, in Georgia, or, and then that pays for the rest of the year on the island. So,
What brings you here?
this science fiction convention, Minicon, and we are instituting this year the Mark Time Award for the best audio production of the year. Science fiction audio production, yeah. And which is actually kind of a serious thing because it's a wonderful form. It's particularly great for science fiction. Firesign was engaged in this right from the beginning, and I really came from science fiction as a kid from Bradbury and Heinlein, from 50s science fiction. So that's kind of my reference point. So all of these movies, that's my reference point. And so we just decided last year that we would try to encourage this. And there are no other audio awards other than the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Nobody gives an actual dramatic award anymore. It's for entertainment here and competition with all kinds of other things. So we thought, well, we'll just see if it works, And now people are talking to me about an academy of an audio arts and sciences, which would, then bring in all the other fields. We could then start slicing thin, like have, one category for spoken. They have one category, for comedy. And so there were like 104 nominees from President's Fight, eating a book, to, fully dramatized Star Wars, to
I just got that on laser. Hillary Clinton's great. I really appreciate it.
So we want to section it out so that everybody gets a prize. I believe everybody getting a prize. So I mean, maybe you're an audio contender here.
Probably too long. Remember the ID release, we only sold it for a fan club.
So who's gonna get the award?
Well, we're not supposed to do that.
We'll find out. Bryce Waterhouse and you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got the plaques. I brought the plaques all the way from Whitby. Well, guys, I know you've got 9 more of these things to do in a short period of time.
Not a week, yeah.
It's really good to meet you.
So, you too.
8 hours of intense pleasure from your
This was
stuff.
the Free Radio Theater, the first show you did out of KFAI.
Oh, wow, yeah, that's right.
And we're doing shockwave on there still.
Oh, great. Wow, that was a long time.
Yeah.
I'll let the boys know what it looks like here. We already said that Proctor would find your storage room, the props and all that. He just moved in there. You can't, you never get him out of there.
That's right. We'll have to tell him about it, maybe he'll come up here next year.
Maybe so. That would be fun. Come and sit here and he'll give you a lot of. He's the rest of us just need to be. I can put it on.
Good to meet you.
You too. Thanks a lot for the tour.
How many kitchens do you have here?
Just the 2. More like the Eastern European version.
I see. Well,
The concentration crow.
This is sort of the industrial Green Bay.
This is the Gizmonic Institute, which Joel Heston brought along with us. These are this, Dr. Clayton.
We can't really use that name anymore.
No, that's Joel. We decided he wanted to take that with him, and he's still using it.
that'll.
Oh, absolutely. And there it is. There's we call it the spank wagon. There it is, full glory.
You can see the strings.
Matchsticks. Truly, just Ohio Blue just jammed in there. That's how the rocket's flying.
The rocket ship, she hunts him all across the universe.
This was a schoolhouse that was flying through the air. This was a little schoolhouse that was flying. Klingon bird of prey, yeah. Schoolhouse. One of my favorites. And then there's, of course, this is the white trash, the poor white trash satellites.
The little city of space.
Of course, all this blacks out, so you see the junk trailing behind. There's a much longer train of garbage being strewn onto the back. Here, the entire family.
Probably the Blue Moss trailer.
They do. Yeah, or is it heater? I don't remember.
That's the Tri-City area.
Or Hellmouth.
Well, I think there is no. I think only Indians live in Hellmouth. And then Hooker's the big town.
Okay.
And Heater is, Hooker's where the newspapers published, the television station, and Channel 6, the hot one.
I still say sometimes, especially when I'm driving through the desert down there, myself, it's hotter than Hooker and Heater. Hotter than Heater and Hellmouth.
Me too. I say the same good.
Thanks a lot, David.
Hey, thank you.
It was a pleasure to meet you.
It was a pleasure to meet you all. A lot of fun.
I hope I can get there this weekend.
Yeah.
Thanks
Yeah, Friday night we'll be giving out these awards.
And I'll keep listening.
Yeah.
You guys keep going. Good luck.
Serious if you want another item.
Okay, well, you pour a